the end of the 11th week, and I saw a revelation. Jesus fell from his throne and drowned in the deep sea.
Go, go, ready. Go.
A clean energy future is within reach. We can have a world powered by cheap, reliable, and abundant clean energy. But to unlock that future, we need to build far more high voltage transmission lines and update the entire energy grid. Now, most electricity doesn't travel very far because it used to be that power plants were always placed close to where the demand for electricity was. You could put a coal plant or a natural gas plant near to the big cities. But clean energy now is going to be much further away. It'll be where there's deserts with the sun, where there's wind corridors, and that means the distances will get far, far greater. And so to ensure that every household has this clean, reliable power, we need transmission, and a lot of transmission. By the 2030s, we need to build so many new lines that they would reach to the moon if they were strung together. And by 2050, we'll need to more than double the size of the grid while replacing most of the existing wires. Building this new transmission is not going to be easy. We have to solve the regulatory challenges. We have to do a big systems design. But the benefits are huge. Reliability, lower costs, and getting rid of both global and local pollution. It will create a lot of jobs building this transmission. It's key to our economic and energy security. The sooner we get started, the better.
That Jesus actually fell from heaven has not got any place in the Constitution, in the Revelation, or in the Bible, in any Constitution, but simply the people that existed between the Plan A and Plan B survivor of the fortnight now actually had symbolized the fall of Jesus ministry. There's no way out. But I want to encourage you all to reason with me that the Son is the radiance of God's glory in a full way, and the exact representation of His being, sustaining all things by His power and word. About He had provided purifications for sin. He had fallen away. Now sin and abounded around the world. He sat down at the right hand of the majesty of heaven, but is no more. At this point, I encourage our all to find alternatives to survival, a new science, a new tech, and we must not go through the same mistakes again.
Down, 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 brother. Yeah, go.
Do you add to what I command you, and do not subtract from it? Jesus now is totally defeated. But keep the commandment of the Lord your God that I give you. I speak now, not in flesh, but in spirit. Before Jesus could return to the throne, this is an endless effort of human genealogy.
Yes, perfect.
Right here, we continue to move this movement to actually bring forward the criminals that made that to happen to human genealogy. He had fell, and there are evidence that he had fell. 1 Corinthians 15:58. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for much as ye knows that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. No way.
Oh, that was madness too. Got him in the head.
Yes, perfect. Yes, perfect. Yes, perfect. Yes, perfect.
Here, how can we know if our prayer is pleasing to God or not? It's from this end that we say, of no reason should we go ahead to strengthen our military forces to encapsulate those criminals who had actually done this damage of no return, meaning the certificate of Jesus or God anymore, because we all saw him, not like a lightning, like devil or Satan, right in his firmament of holiness, he fell to the deep sea. The prophet Hosea was the one who started this beautiful coming together using the moon, but his own was more in his honor as a full moon. We speak in God's name, said, I desire steadfast love and sacrifices. The prayer and the sacrifice we make to God means nothing to him if they do not spring from a heart of love for God. And for one neighbor, now we can expect God to hear our prayers if we do not approach him with humility and with a contrite heart that seek mercy and forgiveness. We stand in constant need of God's grace and help. That we, why Scriptures tells us, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Jesus reinforces one with vivid stories of two people at prayer. Why did the Lord accept in one person's prayer and reject the other prayers? Who gives us an hint which despaired one neighbor and then closed the door to God's heart, expressing the intent and contempt for others in more than being mean mind. It springs from the assumptions that one is qualified to sit in the seat of judgment and to publicly shame those who do not conform for our steadfastness and righteous practice. Essence of holiness and righteousness and godliness. Jesus' story caused often the religious-minded Pharisees who regarded tax collectors as the unworthy of God's grace and favor. How could Jesus put down a religious person and raise up a public sinner? At this end, I'd like Yahoo to join us all the time on this very network, that we are about to set up a military strength that will return Jesus back to his throne. These ones shall be put out there under heavens. You will see them plain clear. How they have read other books that actually gone against the throne of God and the mercy and to confuse people by the lunar, and yet tonight and tomorrow, 18 and 19, transition from the end of the level to the 12th week, we shall be having at kindergarten, honestly, we gotta be there, and Jesus is waiting for you. Jesus' parable speaks about the natures of prayers and our relationship with God himself, who does this by a contrary to very different attitudes towards prayer. The Pharisees who represent this, who took pride in his own righteous practice, exalted themselves at the expense of others, aborted with his own sense of his satisfactions and self-congratulations. His boastful prayer was a contrary of his own good behavior, practice, and rather than of our own culture, grace, and pardon, rather than humbling ourselves before the Lord, asking for our own members to begin to help themselves discipline Pharisees themselves while designing all those things he taught less word. This is what is happening at Area Command. Our mission is to continue to expose all those roaming lions seeking who to devour, those who came in sheep clothes with a ravening wolf, those government that came to oppress, those governors that got it wrong. The Pharisees tried to justify himself for law. And this is where we stand. At this moment, don't be deceived. Let's take it through what is tax collection. Jesus said, if you are arrested, when you are handed over to the officer, you would not leave. I will not allow Yahweh to get out of Guantanamo Bay until you lose everything you have. So sought God with humility rather than with pride. At this junction, get rid of them. Jesus actually had fell from heaven is strong. And I want Yahweh to remember the militarization. We will return him back to his place.
Yes. Perfect.